Okay, good afternoon, you guys. We're not quite starting. It's going to be about 5 minutes, but I was told that you'd like the order of the speakers and their spelling of their names and their titles. So I'm going to give you that ahead of time so we're not wasting time while we're recording. Our first speaker today, my name is Dave Zanaboni. I'm the Public Information Officer for Santa Barbara County Fire Department. That's Zaniboni. Our first speaker after myself is going to be Deputy Fire Chief from Montecito Fire District, Kevin Taylor. He's also the incident commander of the incident. That's Taylor. After that, it will be Sheriff Bill Brown. It's common spelling, Santa Barbara County Sheriff. Third up will be Captain Cindy Pontus. That's Pontes with Ponce, with the California Highway Patrol. Then will be Ron Werft, Werft. He's the president and CEO of Cottage Health Systems. After that is Dr. Brett Wilson, common spelling. He's the emergency department director for Cottage Hospital. Following Dr. Wilson will be Suzanne Grimmsey, sorry. Grimmesey. She's with Santa Barbara County Family Assistance Center. And we have Nick Turner who's not here yet.
Well, and if he doesn't, Laura Camp is their PIO.
Okay. So we're going to have somebody from Montecito Water District. It's either going to be Nick Turner or Laura Camp. Laura Camp. Okay. And if I can get Laura up here. So just please silence cell phones, hold all questions till the very end, and we can you can ask the questions. If it's not loud enough, I'll repeat the question, and the appropriate representative can answer those questions for you. Okay? A couple minutes. Of this? Yeah, anybody can have it. There's a couple people missing on there, though. Captain Cindy Ponce is missing. Okay, good afternoon. My name is Captain Dave Zanaboni. I'm the Public Information Officer for Santa Barbara County Fire Department. Thank you for coming this afternoon. At this time, I'd like to bring up Kevin Taylor. He's a Deputy Fire Chief for Montecito Fire District and the Incident Commander for the incident.
Good afternoon. Kevin Taylor, Division Chief, Montecito Fire Department, and the Type 3 Incident Management Team Incident Commander. I wanted to give you a short operational update. All of our resources continue to operate in search and rescue mode. The favorable weather has allowed them to complete approximately 75% primary search of the debris field. I am very pleased to report that we have over 500 responders working on this search and rescue effort and 10 search dogs. They have successfully rescued 3 people since this morning. Yesterday afternoon, I reported that there were people still trapped in Romero Canyon without any way out, and we were able to remove all of them last night. We continue to work down a list of missing people and their addresses and do a much more focused search of that area. I would like to take just a second to recognize the exceptional effort that our emergency responders have put forward, our local responders, regional responders, and state responders. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. I'd like to bring up Sheriff Bill Brown, Santa Barbara County Sheriff.
Thank you, Dave, and hello, and thank you, everyone, for being here today. Another extremely challenging day as we find out more about our community members who were tragically killed, and also those who are missing and have loved ones who are in an agonizing holding pattern, waiting for word on the status of their loved ones and if they have indeed been found. We are saddened to report that the death toll has now risen to 17, with 2 additional fatalities recovered today. The process of positively identifying the victims is a process that is slow. It takes time, and it cannot be rushed. Our coroner's office and our forensic unit are working around the clock to make careful identifications, to be absolutely positive that we make the right identifications, and to work with and notify the next of kin. At this time, we are not ready to release the names of the victims or identifying information, but anticipate that we will be doing that in the near future. We appreciate your patience as we go through this important process, and we ask for privacy right now for the many family members who are dealing with the worst of circumstances. I want to particularly thank our coroners, detectives, and other coroners personnel for the very difficult and emotional work that they continue to do throughout this event. And I also want to thank the personnel from the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office who arrived here today after a mutual aid call to assist and support our coroner's office in this mass casualty incident. We also know that there are many people who are still missing family members and friends and are deeply concerned about the uncertainty of their status. We are happy to report that some of those who were unaccounted for have been located safely and reunited with their loved ones, but there are still 13 reported missing persons cases, and we have a number of other names that we have gleaned from social media and from other sources that we are looking into as well. If you need help locating a family member, you can go to the Family Assistance Center that has been prepared for this event. It is located at the First Presbyterian Church at 21 East Constance. You can call a toll-free number. That's 833-688-5551. Again, that's 833-688-5551. And this Family Assistance Center is a joint venture between the Sheriff's Office, the Department of Behavioral Wellness, and the American Red Cross. Today was an important and busy day for our search and rescue efforts, and those searches and rescues involved people from not only the Sheriff's Office Search and Rescue Team and sheriff's deputies, but also many allied agency search and rescue teams, urban search and rescue teams, and firefighters. Today, law enforcement, fire, and search and rescue personnel from across 4 counties, including Santa Barbara, San Luis Obispo, Ventura, and Los Angeles, came together and worked in teams to go into the areas and to search for survivors, to check residences, and to evacuate people who were trapped and needed help getting out of the otherwise impassable area. So far, hundreds of people have been rescued and evacuated, many of them having to be hoisted out of the area by our aircraft. And these rescues simply could not have been accomplished without the use of our county and our allied agency air resources, including the California National Guard, who has also provided us with a contingent of military vehicles which are especially suited for operation in the very muddy and deep water conditions that we're operating in certain areas. They have proved to be invaluable, and we would not otherwise have been able to reach as many people as we have. We would not have been able to take as many rescuers out to those areas as well. Today, we also found areas that were even impassable for those vehicles and had to insert many responders into areas by air to search, to find people, and to get them out of the area safely. We want people who are living in the area that's impacted by the floods to get out of that area for their safety. As you're going to hear, there are a number of challenges that anyone who is a resident in that area is facing. If you need help with evacuating, we have a telephone number that you can call, and we'll do everything we can to assist you in that endeavor. 805-681-5542. Again, that's 805-681-5542 for evacuation assistance. Anyone who does not need to be in the area is encouraged to please stay away. We have declared this area a public safety zone that makes it come under the auspices of a penal code section, which makes it a crime for anyone who does not have business in that area, either as a resident or as a first responder or as a member of the press, to be in that area. Not only could you interfere with the search and rescue operations, but you also are impeding the cleanup efforts. There is a tremendous amount of heavy machinery that's located in the area, as well as crews that are clearing debris on the roadway, and we ask you all to stay away from that area unless you have a specific need to be there. I want to close my comments today just with some personal comments and thoughts. I just had the opportunity to take a flight over the area myself with the National Guard, and with Director Ghilarducci, the chief of the Governor's Office of Emergency Services, and with General Baldwin, the Adjutant General of the California National Guard, and with Mona Miyasato, the Chief Executive Officer for the County of Santa Barbara. And what we saw, even though we have been working this incident for several days now and we're very familiar with what had happened, it was really still very stunning to see the extent of the devastation, to see the breadth of the area that has been impacted so terribly by this. It is a massive operation that we have underway, still in the search and rescue mode as mentioned, but as we transition and will transition to a recovery mode, we realize that this is going to be a long and difficult journey for all of us and for our community. We ask for your patience, we ask for your understanding, and I ask you for your prayers for the many victims of this tragedy, for their families, for the people who are impacted by this terrible event, for the myriad of first responders and the incredible support staff who allow them to do what they do so well, and for the incredible collaborative effort that is underway and taking place. And I just want to also say, since we're transitioning from our incident command team over to the CAL FIRE team, I want to just specifically recognize the incident commander Kevin has done a great job, as have all of our local assets that have been involved in this from day one, and we look forward to continuing to address this very detailed and convoluted problem with our colleagues from the CAL FIRE team. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. I'd like to introduce Captain Cindy Pontus from California Highway Patrol.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here. The 101 is now closed at the 150 on the northbound side, and it's still closed on the southbound side at Milpas. Caltrans announced today that they anticipate the 101 will remain closed until midday, Monday, January 15th. We know that this creates great hardships for many people, and these decisions are not made lightly. Our number one priority is to protect lives, and until the 101 is deemed to be safe for vehicular travel, it has to remain closed. Crews are working around the clock to clear surface streets, and as soon as we can get an alternate route around the 101 closure, we will do so, and we will get that information out to the public as soon as we have that clear. People have also been trying to travel around the 101 closure through the 192. Unfortunately, the 192 is closed also, so it's not an alternate route. We have it closed from Hot Springs to Ortega Ridge, so please stay out of this area. The California Highway Patrol is currently manning 14 fixed posts closures, and we have activated our special response team. We have personnel responding all the way from Santa Cruz to help with our mission here. And we just want to thank the community for your continued patience and understanding as we work diligently to get more roadways open for you guys. And our thoughts and prayers are with the families who've lost their loved ones, and we ask that you keep them in your thoughts and prayers also. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to bring up Ron Werft. He's the president and CEO of Cottage Health.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you. Since yesterday's briefing, we have received no new storm victims. Dr. Brett Wilson will provide information on patient status for patients at Cottage in a moment, but I wanted to update you on hospital support and support for our community. We remain fully staffed at our hospitals. We were able to bring in 38 staff members from Ventura by boat this morning, partnering with Condor Express and Island Packers, thanks to them and also to Santa Barbara Airbus, who shuttled them from the harbor. And also, we flew 14 employees this morning with the help of Silver Air. And again, Santa Barbara Airbus was right there to get those employees over to the hospitals from the airport. In addition, we had 111 laboratory specimens from our draw stations in Ventura that needed processing at our core lab in Ventura, and these also were on that flight that came here this morning by Silver Air. This is really essential for rapid identification of illnesses and diseases for the patients that we were serving in the Ventura area. As mentioned yesterday, all surgeries and treatments took place today as scheduled. That will be true for the surgery schedule and procedure schedule for Thursday and Friday as well, so patients should be encouraged to maintain those as planned. We're there for them. I want to say that our employees made really extraordinary efforts to get to work and make sure that they could take care of those in need in our community, both those with flu, with other illnesses, and the victims of the storm as well. Like our first responder colleagues in the field, they work around the clock to provide care in situations that sometimes impacts their own families and their own communities. Between firefighters, paramedics, law enforcement, our social service agencies, and our Cottage team, I just have to say this is truly the best team and group of people that any of us would want to have at our side in an emergency, and that's never been more evident than what we've seen the last couple of days. I want to thank, again, the first responders who have performed heroic rescues, the medical personnel, some of them Cottage who happened to be in the community, who provided care at the disaster sites, and the first responders who were able to get those patients to our hospitals for the treatment that they needed. We are receiving many calls from people who are looking for family members or friends and not knowing the status, as was mentioned before. I will tell you that all of our patients in the hospital have been connected with a family member or very close friend for support. And we appreciate your understanding and the understanding of the community and respect for patient privacy during this time that they need for healing. We want to let everyone know the best resources, as Sheriff Brown mentioned, to help with this search for missing persons is to contact the Santa Barbara County Family Assistance Center. And at the risk of repetition, I just want to say that number again at 1-833-688-5551. They can provide much more help to those of you who are searching than we're able to do at the hospital. Lastly, for all of us at Cottage, our hearts and prayers go out to all of the victims and to this entire community that has been and will continue to be affected as this disaster continues to unfold. I want to just acknowledge once again the really incredible preparation, compassion, professionalism of all of those involved in the field and at our hospitals, and continue to respond to this emergency, and to really underscore the degree to which we have extremely effective collaboration from our hospitals with government agencies, and in this case also with the private sector, who stepped up immediately to help us with our transportation needs. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce Dr. Brett Wilson, Emergency Department Director from Cottage Hospital.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Again, I'm Brett Wilson, the Medical Director for Cottage Emergency Department. Just to revisit, yesterday we received 20 patients from this storm event. I am pleased to tell you that some have been discharged. We now have 12 patients who are remaining in the hospital. 4 of those are still in critical condition. So the others have been treated and released. As you can imagine, most of the injuries that we saw from this event yesterday were related to fast-moving debris, as you can't even fathom what these poor patients went through to finally make their way into the emergency department. I think it's important to understand that as we start to transition into the recovery effort, as Sheriff Brown mentioned, that the next phase is going to be not only the physical as well as the emotional component, that not only the patients, their families are going to now start to engage and have to go through. So I think as a community, we have all been compassionate to this, but as you've heard, the patients and their families are respecting the privacy at this time. I think it's also important to look after them and make sure that you are a listener and that you let them tell their story, and also to keep an eye on them. At this point, you're going to see where people are going to come out of that initial shock, and so then you're going to start to see where they become distant. And so it's just important as their friends and family that you keep an eye out for them and know which resources that you need to engage. And so you've heard from different agencies, but we also at Cottage have support services that are available for those. So at the very least, if you need guidance, we'd be happy to do that to get you to the appropriate resources within our community. Lastly, I want to just again acknowledge yesterday with the event happening so early in the morning, we had an amazing amount of staff within the emergency department that stayed late to just handle the initial volume of patients that came in. They were heroic in what they did, and so I'm just very proud to have this happen and our community just step forward like we have. Just please remember that we all live here as well, and so we're right there with you. And we just your thoughts, our thoughts are with you all the way. And so with that, I'll leave you the next speaker. Thank you very much.
21 East Constant Street. The center will remain open until 8 o'clock tonight and from 8 a.m. until 8 p.m. through the end of the day on Friday. The Family Assistance Center remains staffed by a collaboration of agencies, including the Sheriff's Department, Behavioral Wellness, the Red Cross, Social Services, Public Health, clergy from throughout the community, and then the amazing partnership with the staff of First Presbyterian Church. The Family Assistance Center is a place where people can come to receive assistance in locating family members, friends who have been impacted by the storm or are missing. The center has been busy throughout the day today, much more so than yesterday. Families have utilized the shelter to receive information, to report missing persons, as well as receive counseling support. Many families today chose to remain at the shelter or leave and come back to the shelter as they awaited additional information by their loved one who was listed as a missing person. This is welcomed, and it's a huge thanks again to First Presbyterian Church for creating a space for the counseling support that is available to provide comfort and support and counseling for so many that are impacted at this time. People can come directly to the center, but they can also call. The Family Assistance Center is now staffed with a call center located within the center to support the volume of calls coming in, especially those living out of our area, calling in to get information on missing persons. We now have a toll-free number, which is 833-688-5551. The number you were given yesterday remains active, although I encourage you to use the toll-free number where we have the greatest amount of support. The evacuation shelter, staffed by the Red Cross and supported by Public Health, Behavioral Wellness, and others, also remains open, located at Santa Barbara City College. I will again remind our public and the media that these spaces are spaces for those in need to go and get help, and we ask that they be respected as spaces for just that. The public and the community can also call 211 to get informational updates on the storm, or calling out of the area, the toll-free number for 211, 800-400-1572. Or the public can call our information line, which is 805-681-5542, or can text at 805-699-0165. And this number is a number to call for information, updates, request assistance with evacuation, or request to talk to a counselor. Lastly, I would like to share an example of the strength and the support within our community. I had an opportunity to sit and meet with leadership throughout our schools, or of our schools throughout the Santa Barbara area. The table was filled, and as you can imagine, this tragic event has not only affected our broader community, but greatly impacted our schools, with children attending and so many families involved. I was able to witness and take part in an amazing example of caring and compassionate collaborative support, strategizing ways to best support the students and the families that are related. The grief and the need within our community right now is unimaginable. We will get through this. We are strong. It will take a lot of healing, and it will take a lot of time. Be sure to give smiles to people you encounter throughout the day. Be sure to thank our first responders whenever you get an opportunity to do so. And support and take care of yourselves and of others. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Suzanne. I'd like to introduce Nick Turner. He's the General Manager of the Montecito Water District. He'll be our last speaker.
So my name is Nick Turner, General Manager of the Montecito Water District. I will begin with providing you our current water supply conditions. We currently have a very limited water supply. We have no water currently in storage. We do have customers, known customers, that are without water. This is primarily in the upper Toro Canyon area, also along the upper parts of our district boundary. We have reduced deliveries from Jameson Lake, which is a primary supply from us. It is thought that the reduced deliveries are a result of a main break between the lake and the Dalton Tunnel. We also rely heavily on the South Coast Conduit, which is water delivered from Lake Cachuma. That supply has been was discontinued yesterday temporarily as the thought that there was a main break somewhere in the Cold Springs Creek area. COMB, the Cachuma Operations and Maintenance Board, is currently assessing that, and we'll hopefully be determining soon if that break does exist, and hopefully we can begin delivering supplies from that source. We do have groundwater supply, but it also is very limited. This supply primarily delivers water to our lower zone. Those wells are currently on and are doing what they can to maintain minimal supply to that area. The community of Summerland currently has water. They are fed from Ortega Reservoir. That supply is not being replenished at the moment, so it is limited. We do have customers in the district that do have water, but it's at very, very low pressure and very low supply. We would urge anyone that has water, regardless of the quantity, to limit that use to an essential use only to preserve throughout the duration of this crisis. The water quality, a boil water notice was issued yesterday. That was a precautionary measure due to the loss of storage in our reservoirs and the significant main breaks that we have experienced. We do not at this time have any known instances of contamination. We are currently continue to assess our supplies and our distribution system. That notice will remain in place until that assessment is complete. Until we've made the repairs to our distribution system, testing is performed, and the state has approved lifting that order. Water can be consumed if the procedures as indicated in the notice are followed. The notice can be found on the district's website, which is montecitowater.com, also at the County Public Health and the State Water Resources Control Board. Our damages consist, well, first let me say we're still assessing the damages. There is a large portion of our district that is still inaccessible. There is significant amounts of debris and rocks in the roadway, which prohibits us from making it to those facilities. We have, of the sites that are damaged we're aware of, we have 3 identified main breaks at creek crossings. These are located on our High Line, which is located on the upper portion of our district. These are significant crossings. They span 50 to 150 foot long. They're 25 to 75 foot high. We have isolated these sections of line from our system, but it prevents us from moving water from one storage reservoir to the other. We also have 1.5 to 2 miles of transmission main that is still inaccessible. We are attempting to evaluate that line on foot to determine how many more main breaks we have along that alignment. As I previously mentioned, the South Coast Conduit is a significant source of water for the district. It has been shut down as of yesterday between Barker Pass and Ortega Reservoir. Again, it was thought to be a main break, but the Cachuma Operations and Maintenance Board is assessing that, and hopefully we'll have an outcome of that very soon. In addition to main breaks on our High Line, we have 4 or 5 identified breaks within the Montecito area. We also have quite a number of fire hydrants that were seared off from the mud flows. We were able to access all of those and close valves to prevent water loss through those hydrants. Our Jameson Lake, as I mentioned earlier, the flows from Jameson are reduced. That's thought to be from a main break that's out in the Santa Ynez Mountains between here and the lake. Staff was flown today over that region to see if we can't identify the location, assess the road conditions, and get in there as soon as possible to make those repairs. Our actions moving forward, or performed to date and moving forward, we are fully staffed. District staff has been able to get through on the 101 to the district. We've received significant assistance from the City of Santa Barbara and other local contractors. We are currently removing debris ourselves to access our facilities to assess the damage and then begin making the repairs. We have a dedicated construction crew to each of the known breaks along the High Line, and as we identify additional breaks, our plan is to dedicate additional crews to those so that those repairs can be made as quickly as possible. City staff will be assisting us tomorrow in making repairs to our mains in the Montecito area, including the fire hydrant replacements. We do have backup power supplied to all our critical facilities, so as soon as the South Coast conduit is back up and operable, we will be delivering water from that supply up to our storage reservoirs and into our system. As I mentioned earlier, we are currently bringing all available water sources that we have into our system. There are bottled water distribution centers that have been set up. They are located at the Montecito Fire Station at Cold Springs and Sycamore Canyon. And there is another distribution center located at the shopping center on the southwest corner of East Valley in San Isidro. It is unknown as to when the water service will be restored. Our contractors are making significant progress in locating the breaks, accessing them, preparing them for repairs. We will have hopefully a better estimate to share with the community once we have accessed all of our facilities and been able to evaluate their condition. Lastly, I just want to say, give a special thanks to everyone, all the special districts, and specifically the city for all of the help and assistance that they have offered the district over the last 2 days. We really appreciate it and certainly need it. So thank you.
Okay, so at this time we can open it up to some questions, and we'll try to guide you to the right party up here to answer those. Can't see in the sun. Go ahead. Speak loud, please. Status of the Montecito Creek. I don't know if you could speak on that. Wait, I don't know. We don't have anybody, we don't have a representative from flood control here today. Oh, I'm sorry.
Hi, Scott McAlpin with Public Works. Could you repeat the question, please? Our crews certainly are responding to the Montecito area now. We're digging our way in to the community and getting to the creeks, reestablishing the flows under the bridges, into the box culverts. So I hadn't heard that the creek was giving way. I'm not quite sure what that means, but we have people out there who are evaluating the situation. Thank you.
Question is details on the people stuck up in Romero Canyon. Sheriff? Or Chief?
Yeah, so the Romero Canyon issue, some people that initially asked to be evacuated elected to stay. And so, of course, they were left in place, but those that wanted to be moved out were moved out. And that was a helicopter evacuation for the most part, and then some by the roadway later in the evening. I'm sorry, I don't know exactly what time that occurred.
Go ahead.
We're getting federal government to take care of the 101 north and south. If you don't, you can request that when you get enough support to the federal government to help us go open 101 north and south, because that's a big problem for us.
Right. The question is are we receiving federal help for the 101 closure? Captain?
FEMA is in our Emergency Operations Center, and they are working with us and supporting Caltrans. So yes, the federal government is helping us at this time.
So the question is, what kind of timeline when we go from rescue to recovery? I'm going to have Chief speak to that, please.
Thanks, Dave. So as we stated earlier, this is still a very active search and rescue operation. One of the reasons why we brought Chief C and his incident command team is to help us continue to manage that search and rescue operation. Relative to duration, there are several factors that go into determining how long a victim will be viable, and all of those factors, including air temperature, soil temperature, weather conditions, and the like, will be evaluated before we move into the recovery mode. So what we do with the debris pile is divided up into geographical areas, and we have teams assigned in all of those geographical areas. As you move from west to east across the debris pile, the most accessible areas are on the west side, and those have been 100% searched from the surface search. And then as you move further east, where our access is much more difficult, we continue to work into those areas. No, I'm sorry, I don't have that off the top of my head.
Question over here. The inmate crews that are on, we have 6 crews here total that are working. They've been here, I can answer that, they've been here since the day that prior to the storm we had them pre-positioned, and they were in clearing these creeks that were actually affected and clearing, working in the debris basins and areas like that. And they're continuing to just assist with basically just manpower.
Yes, we've established an area around where the current rescue operations are being undertaken, and it's a different footprint than the original evacuation warning and evacuation order area. It is concentrated more on the southern edge towards 101. Well, actually, it goes all the way to the ocean, but it goes above 101 and then goes up beyond Valley Road. And basically the idea is that we want to limit access to only those who are residents in the area. Residents are still able to come and go if their roads are accessible, and many of them are still not. But if they can access those roads from the outside, they're welcome to come in. But we have established barricades, and we are stopping people who do not have any business in the area from coming into it. The problem is that many of the streets in there are very tight. We have a lot of crews in there that are engaged in rescue work, that are engaged in repair work. We have the gas company, we have the electric people, we have all sorts of people that are in there making assessments and making repairs. And we had a lot of people that just came in as, for lack of a better word, as being looky-loos. They were coming in taken pictures of the devastation and so forth. And as a result of that, under the authority that is given to me and by the penal code, we have established a public safety exclusion zone. And it means that no one is allowed in there if they don't have business in there, other than residents and members of the press. No, it is not. It is strictly involving the aftermath of a flooding event that is a situation where we believe that operations, all those operations I just mentioned, are being hindered by too many people, too many onlookers being in the area. You mentioned that. I mentioned that the number was 13, and I just got handed a note that said that number has actually just increased to 17. So 17 have been reported as missing. So that number is in flux. We do have, as I said, people who have been located and have been reunited with friends and family. We also have people who have not yet been located, and we also have people who are just now, people are having, are not able to get in contact with them, so they're contacting us. All of those reports come to us in the Sheriff's Office, either through the Family Assistance Center or through some other means, through our dispatch center or what have you. And we are investigating those leads to determine if those people are there. It's a coincidence that we happen to have 17 fatalities and 17 people missing. We do not believe that all 17 of those missing people are the 17 people who we have in our coroner's office.
Have you been able to make any notifications or numbers?
We have started that process. Obviously, part of that involves having family members or close friends coming in and making identification of the remains of their loved ones. And we have actually started that process, but we also want to make sure that we have all of these notifications for a particular person completed before we release that information. So I don't anticipate that we're going to release any of that information today, but we may be releasing some of it tomorrow. Yeah, no, we have certainly a lot of clues and a lot of indications as to who people are, but again, this is a process where we have to get it right, and we have to make sure that our identification is sound.
Question over here.
Of those 17 fatalities, where did most of them occur, near Montecito Street or one of the other?
We can't confirm where those, they throughout the affected area. Anybody else? I don't have a condition of any of the individuals that were rescued. I don't think we have that information. One more. Montecito District, please.
I don't really have a best case or a worst case to provide you. There's the extent of the damage. First of all, is unknown. Again, we don't have access to much of our facilities at this point. In addition, our ability to provide water to our customers is dependent upon the repairs and of the South Coast conduit if required, or at least bringing that facility back online. And so it's going to be days. It could be as much as a week, but at this point it's really hard to tell until we have the opportunity to get in there and make that assessment. We should have an answer in the next day or so. Again, we have the upper part of Ramiro Canyon, Park Lane, we have not accessed. We have storage reservoirs, we have distribution mains, and until we can get in there and get the debris moved so that we can get in there, we can't make that assessment. We cannot bring our high line, our distribution main back online until the damages are either isolated or repaired. And to date, as of now, we have not been able to get in there to make that assessment. So again, it's going to be days. It could be as much as a week, but we are working as quickly as we can with as many contractors and city officials helping, and we'll get those facilities up and running as soon as we possibly can.
So we're going to wrap it up. I just want to thank all of our speakers up here for taking time out of their busy day, and we all need to get back to work. Tomorrow we'll have a press conference. Again, same location, same time, 4 p.m. tomorrow. Thank you.